you said that the people are starting to challenge their governments, and that they are not oppressed in the same way that they were before. And so people's reactions are shown to the rest of the world also. And what do you think that that really means? You said that it's a positive development, but how has it to develop right to be good?
Well, I think all we can see now and all we can say is that a lot of people in the Arab world are no longer willing to simply quietly accept their fate and to live in non-democratic societies where there's economic stress and unemployment and corruption and abuse of power and mismanagement of the economy and foreign armies and long-term Israeli occupation and colonization. People are not willing to just put up with this for decade after decade after decade, and they did for 20, 30 years, and then they finally started resisting and speaking out and fighting back and demanding that things be changed. There's been no significant change in most of the government policies, but there has been significant change in the terms of how many people in the Arab countries are speaking out about these issues and demanding that things be done differently. In some cases there has been change where a group like Hezbollah in Lebanon becomes stronger than the army of Lebanon, or Hamas becomes stronger than the Palestinian army. So in some cases conditions have changed where some people not only just speak out, but they actually organize and they mobilize and they get armaments and guns and they fight wars. But generally I would say that the good thing is that the monopoly of power that the central government's had is no longer a monopoly. Other people are sharing power, and there's an active debate going on in terms of what should our policies be and what should we do. And that's a healthy thing.
Do you believe that the thing that is going on now, is the development going to follow the development that was in Europe or in the Western world? Or is the Arab world going to do their own kind of development? You said that the people themselves have to decide how it's going to be. And is it going to be something like what happened in the Western world, or are they going to take
It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say. The Western world developed in different ways as well. Not all Western. I mean, if you look at Japan's development and Italy's and Canada's, they're quite different. I think broadly I would say that if you have democratic transformations and you continue to have, say, economic development and mass education, probably you will get a general trend towards more secular, more productive, and more stable societies. If you have the rule of law and accountability and with economic development, then we're likely to see political systems that are similar to some Western systems. But remember, it took you, in the West, it took you about, say, from the Magna Carta until today, it took you 700-800 years. It's a long time. And women only were given the vote in the 1920s in many Western countries. So it's not as if, the Western experience is a great model. It took you a long time, and you had, you killed more people in wars in Europe than anybody else in the world between World War I and World War II. So I think the European example is not necessarily a happy one. The American example of democracy was built on the back of two genocides, the slavery and the American Indian. Just massive atrocities, killing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. If that's a model for us, then we would say thanks but no thanks. We don't want to develop like you did with that kind of genocidal growth. So every society has to find its own pattern, and I think what we will find happening in the Arab world in the best of circumstances would be something similar to, say, what's going on in Turkey with the gradual transformation